Started. This is Audy. She's been a really good student all year. Her topic is pretty interesting. I know she's planning on med school, right?
Right.
And so her topic is quite interesting because it's almost a bit of an alternative medicine type topic, right?
Right, Mister.
And so it's pretty interesting for a med student to think about something like sound therapy. Let me get your acknowledgments up. Audy says, I would like to thank God for leading and guiding me throughout the entire thesis process, Miss Maymay and Mr. Wade, who gave me meaningful insights, and my panelists, Mr. Zorn and Miss Peeping. Lastly, I'm forever grateful for my family and friends who always stay by my side. Audy's title is The Song's About to Start, Promoting Sound Therapy as a Public Health Treatment Alternative. Give me just a second to set up the timer, and I'll let you know when you can start.
Test, 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 test.
Did you want to see the timer?
Yeah, I want to see the timer, please.
Okay, you can start whenever you're ready.
Stage 3, cancer. In his mid-40s, Oliver's world collapsed. He got diagnosed with prostate cancer. Miserable with his situation and with no financial aid, Oliver surrenders to his condition. Each sleepless night, he felt his strength fading away. Until one afternoon, a compassionate doctor approached him and offered a unique solution. A promise seemingly implausible, as if it's too good to be true. Skeptical about the outcome, Oliver accepts the offer as he has nothing to lose anymore. Over the next 6 months, he attended sessions with a good doctor, bracing for side effects, for disappointment, for the cruel letdown of another failed treatment. Instead, miraculously, the tumors vanished, and he even walked away paying barely half the cost of conventional cancer care. Now the mystery lingers. Was it shamanism, or was it all a staged testimony? No, this is simply sound therapy. Oliver's recovery and countless stories like this in the real world prove that sound can do much more than soothe. It saves lives. Sound therapy originated from ancient civilizations. From the era of ancient Greeks and Egyptians, prominent figures like Aristotle and Pythagoras established the relationship between music and physical health. Over the centuries, various cultures worldwide have utilized sound therapies as their traditional remedies. Notably, one distinguished father figure of sound therapy is Dieuze, a French physician who made the first modern record of music and sound in the 18th century. By the 21st century, research uncovers that the human bodies are designed to conduct sound, and a direct relation exists between environmental sound and human physiological health. So when a person falls sick, their natural frequency is distorted. What is natural frequency, you might ask? It is the innate frequency at which all matter vibrates upon external disturbance. Humans have their own range of natural frequencies, with their whole body frequency differing from their body parts. So to cure this sickness, the body is then exposed to specific external vibrations, with the aim to restore the internal rhythms and retune the body to its natural frequency. This method is called entrainment, a phenomenon in which one rhythm causes another vibrating object to synchronize with its rhythm of vibration. Another central mechanism of sound healing is resonance. It occurs when a vibrating object matches the natural frequency of the second object, causing self-amplification of the second object's vibrations. Thus, by definition, sound healing is the therapeutic application of sound frequencies to the body and mind of individuals to bring them into a state of harmony and health. Nevertheless, this thesis does not advocate on using sound therapy as a primary medical care. People are still encouraged to seek professional medical advice before switching to sound therapy as a complementary or alternative treatment, particularly if they face challenges in attaining conventional ones. Despite the necessity of professional medical care, the reality is that thousands of underprivileged still lack basic medical care. High health expenses push around 100 million people into extreme poverty, forcing them to survive on only $1.90 or even less a day. Thousands of victims will appear due to the lack of awareness of sound healing, as sound healing doesn't require a medical expert to receive its instant benefits, but simply with the proper knowledge to reap its benefits. Moreover, it is less invasive and costs a fraction of the conventional treatments. Although it's not a long-term solution for dire public health situations, sound healing can mitigate some symptoms with minimal equipments. Yet, despite centuries of healthcare inaccessibility, no public institution has endorsed sound therapy as a legitimate medical treatment. The public often misunderstands the concept of medicinal sound healing, resulting in a lack of awareness about this current issue. With that, medicinal sound healing should be socialized to the public as a medical treatment alternative for three reasons: economic benefits, humanitarian refinements, and the legislative and ethical necessity of the authorities. First, sound healing is rising in popularity, which can give numerous economic benefits. The sound therapy industry is developing as recreational centers adopt its practices. With the new exposure and audience, the projected growth of the sound therapy market promises high profits for institutions and significant savings for patients seeking alternatives. Notably, the usage of sound therapy rises significantly that according to verified market research, the market was valued at $2.1 billion in 2023 and is estimated to reach $9.5 billion within 6 years. In comparison, introspective market research projects the market will grow to over $2.1 billion over the following 7 years. This remarkable growth draws the attention of various parties, including health insurers who are expanding their coverage for holistic treatments, such as acupuncture, a treatment with a similar nature to sound healing. The akin characteristics and origin enable it to be the model for the growth trajectory of sound healing. As one expert explained, health insurers decided to provide acupuncture benefits for the same reason they provide all benefits. Acupuncture saves them money and is an efficient way to treat various health issues. With the increasing acceptance of acupuncture in clinical practice, sound therapy is following this precedent, drawing attention from various parties. Secondly, sound healing can transform the healthcare system as an affordable therapy to clinical services. Due to escalating healthcare costs, only the affluent can access healthcare without struggling. Government proved inadequate in helping, with most allocating less than 5% of their GDP or less than 15% of their national budget to healthcare. This demonstrates that costly healthcare burdens many countries. Given these financial challenges, it is essential to explore alternatives like sound healing, especially since it can be self-administered once the right frequency is discovered. If so, when one goes to a psychiatrist for sound therapy sessions, they can always reap the benefits individually. Moreover, Medium reports that numerous patients testify to experience immediate benefits from sound therapy sessions, unlike pharmaceutical intervention that usually take a week to alleviate their complaints. This small yet crucial change in medical plans can prompt patients to reassess their medical routine and ultimately compel the healthcare system to adapt to this new situation. Aside from its potential to reform the healthcare system, the cost of research on the impacts of sound therapy is lower than the cost of research on drugs' efficacy. Developing a single pharmaceutical can cost from under $1 billion to over $2 billion. Not to mention the new trend of creating medicines for chronic diseases raise cost further, as these biologics, large molecules derived from living cells, are expensive and hard to replicate. As sound healing is holistic and practical, its cost of research, development, and trial will be much more cheaper than producing a single drug. This lowers overall treatment expenses, making care more affordable. Following the first argument, medicinal sound healing should be socialized for its humanitarian benefits. Sound therapy deals with people's needs while embracing and incorporating traditional practices. Methods like Tibetan singing bowls and gong baths produce high and low sound frequencies. High frequencies increase beta waves, which are linked to increase in alertness, cognitive processing, and intense emotions, while low frequencies are associated with relaxed wakefulness and reduced mental effort. Beyond culture, its therapeutic value also appears in religion. The Bible records David soothing King Saul with a harp, showcasing the power of sound to ease mental distress and dismiss spiritual attack. Accordingly, raising awareness of sound healing supports ancestral heritage and cultural preservation. Encouraging its use helps people reconnect with their cultural values, leading to a deeper understanding of their identity. Secondly, sound therapy offers a gentle, flexible, and easily applicable alternative to traditional, often rigid, therapeutic methods. Its benefits range from consulting a sound therapist, going to a spa with tailored soundscapes, or simply surfing the internet and utilizing audio platforms with refined speakers or headphones. Ray Dietrich, a sound bath instructor at El Encanto, experienced improved sleep and reduced anxiety through sound baths and listening to solfeggio frequencies on YouTube. She states, when it comes to unlock the mind-body connection, your ears might just be the key. Patients simply need to sit back, relax, and let their body respond to healing sound frequencies tailored to their condition. Though passive, it can be the first vital step in relieving tension, anger, and fatigue. Additionally, sound therapy is non-invasive, unlike traditional treatments that often carry risks. With minimal cost and risk, sound therapy promotes a better quality of life. The third reason sound therapy can enhance humanitarian qualities is its power to catalyze groundbreaking technological innovation. Science, closely tied to vision, is the backbone of technological advancement, and sound healing has started inspiring new technologies such as acoustic tweezers. Consider a Fitbit, a wearable health tracker that took 9 years to progress through 3 stages of technology life cycle before its decline in 2023. In the second stage of technology life cycle, the growth stage, Fitbit's revenue surged from $5 million in 2010 to over $2 billion by 2016. As more users wear it, new features such as heart rate monitoring, sleep tracking, and partnerships with health providers were added. Similarly, sound healing can follow this path as it is currently in the second stage of technology life cycle, the growth stage. Currently in the growth stage, music and sound are now recognized as legitimate medical tools, comparable to drugs and surgeries. Lastly, medicinal sound healing should be publicized, as regulating it is a legislative and ethical necessity. By socializing this vibrational medicine, the government ensures public safety through prior evaluation and regulation. Regulation should include standardized certification and ethical guidelines for sound therapists employing traditional methods, similar that has been implemented in acupuncture. The government sets training standards for certification in acupuncture. Likewise, sound healing must be properly regulated and legalized to prevent misuse by unqualified individuals, such as shamans or those without proper certification. Additionally, promoting sound healing as a complementary treatment aligns with the government's role in providing diverse healthcare options to all citizens. The government has the responsibility to provide various recovery methods, similar to how acupuncture is now used in 103 countries, which aligns with the global healthcare trends reported by the World Health Organization. Further will be referred to as WHO. They state a large portion of the global population utilizes traditional, complementary, and integrative medicine, as reflected in the WHO Traditional Medicine Strategy 2014 until 2023, which has been extended for 2 years. This strategy, which aims to promote the safe and effective use of traditional and complementary medicine, aligns with the growing interest in sound therapy as a viable healthcare option. Nevertheless, corresponding government sectors must still be proactive in promoting sound healing, ensuring that their citizens are aware of this complementary treatment and can benefit from it. Ultimately, socializing sound healing fulfills the government's ethical obligation. It aligns with clinical ethics principles such as beneficence and non-maleficence. Beneficence is to help and do no harm, while non-maleficence is do not kill, do not cause suffering, do not incapacitate, do not cause offense, and do not deprive others of the goods of life. Beneficence calls for a positive attitude, while non-maleficence focuses on preventing harm. Finally, this agenda supports ethical public health frameworks, upholding core values like health and safety and health justice and equity. Socializing sound healing is not just a matter of choice, but a moral imperative for the government to promote it as a medical treatment alternative. As the saying goes, justice delayed is justice denied. For underserved populations who have been waiting for a remedy, if a substantial relief is available but not provided promptly, it is equivalent to no remedy. Nonetheless, some believe that sound therapy is not admissible as it heavily relies on superstitious beliefs and is merely a placebo effect. While it's true that sound therapy has ancient religious roots, this argument overlooks present research that lays the principles of sound therapy. Studies document the primary cilium, antenna-like structures containing proteins on our cell membranes, vibrating when exposed to vibrational energy fields. Furthermore, as an environmental vibration resonates with the receptor's antennae, it alters the charges of the proteins, causing the cell to undergo shape changes. This is pivotal as defects in primary cilia has been linked to arthritis, polycystic kidney disease, heart failure, and even cancer. Additionally, the placebo effect often accompanies numerous treatments as secondary influence driven by patient perception. Ted Kapchuk, an American biomedical scientist, successfully unraveled the components of the placebo response and concluded that patients' perception matter and how physicians shape this perception and present information can significantly impact their patient's health. Yet, in essence, the placebo effect is inevitable as it depends on the patient's perception and will to recover. On the other hand, some critics argue that since it is applicable at home, it undermines its classification as a medical treatment, thus contradicting the thesis. While it's true that sound therapy can be practiced at home, this supports rather than contradicts its clinical nature, as many legitimate treatments and medications are designed for home use under proper guidance. In closer detail, a systematic review examined the self-administration of medication in hospital settings, observing that this method aims to enhance patients' understanding and promote independence. Similarly, clinical remedies are often self-administered, provided there are clear parameters. Patients are expected to have the knowledge and discernment to know when to seek for professional help, and the same should apply for sound healing. Throughout this paper, we have explored reasons why authorities should socialize medicinal sound healing, starting with the financial gains of both the patients and businessmen, which can ultimately transform the healthcare system. Then we moved on to consider the humanitarian refinements sound healing presents, unlocking a human-friendly treatment accessible to all. Finally, we ended with a conclusion of the legal and ethical necessity of the government to promote this treatment. Let's revisit Oliver's story in the beginning. Oliver is free from prostate cancer with 6 months of high-intensity focused ultrasound and half the cost of usual cancer care. Oliver and his wife do not need to work triple jobs to make ends meet and withdraw their pension funds to pay for his treatment. Above all, they can fund their daughter's junior high without her ever realizing how close she came in losing a year of education. This might just be one remarkable story of an ordinary man, yet the impact it holds on everyday life is nothing short of extraordinary. As we all know, doctors by nature are bound to the Hippocratic Oath. First, do no harm. Yet today's pharmaceutical landscape is often invasive, costly, and exclusive. Sound therapy offers a new path, non-invasive, accessible, and affordable. By embracing this medicine, medical professionals can finally uphold their oath, fulfilling it in its most true sense. It is time to return medical treatment to its most human roots. Now, what can we do as ordinary people? We must not stay idle and wait for sound therapy to come to us. Instead, we must rise as catalysts, urging authorities to promote and legitimize sound healing. Further, we can educate ourselves, initiate discussions with others, and spread the awareness. After all, actions speak louder than words. Thank you.
Thank you, Audy. Great job. Let's see, we've got our panelists today, Mr. Zorn and Ms. Peeping. Mr. Zorn will go first.
Hello. I must first applaud you for your delivery. You've improved very well from our practices and appreciate the rhetorical tone that you bring about it.
Thank you, Mr.
I have to say I agree with your paper. There are so many things that you've covered. And I want to actually talk more about the feasibility of your method. Yeah. Number one, it's about the frequency response. When you make your paper, you're describing about how this machine, I think it's called Kita or biofluid, yeah, it says that it can replicate certain frequencies, yeah. And as you know, we humans have like certain range of frequency that we can hear, like I think from 2K to 20K. And some electronic device can replicate and accentuate certain sound frequencies. Like for example, if you're using a hearing aid, it will expand more on the mid-range because that's a focal sense. Now, can you maybe elaborate more on this frequency range? Which one that goes with the healing frequencies from all these, I think sub-bass to treble? On what frequency range are you covering up this?
Okay, thank you, Mr. for the question. If I may clarify, so are you asking what categories of the sound frequencies that are...
That I used to heal, yeah, because
Okay.
I never hear one myself, right? Yeah.
All right. Thank you for the clarification, Mr. So as I have mentioned in my speech before, sound therapy works on two fundamental mechanisms, resonance and entrainment. First, let's go with the entrainment principle. So entrainment, as I have said before, it's when we use an external vibration to entrain like our brain waves, heartbeat, or even like our breathing pace. So using an external sound frequency, we can entrain our brain waves to the designated frequency sector that we want to. For example, there are 5 frequencies of brainwave bands. There is the first one, it is the delta frequency. It is when we're having the dream, the deep sleep state. Next, we have the theta, it's the light sleep. Alpha is when we are in a relaxed state. Beta is alert consciousness, and gamma is the fastest brainwave when we use our intensive cognitive ability. So, for example, sound healing cannot just give therapeutic benefits, but it can also help us focus in certain tasks. For example, I'm doing my thesis defense. If I can do sound therapy, I will entrain my brain. I would use a device to project the gamma frequency to help me focus and unlock my most brain ability to process all information. For other, so to respond your question, the relaxed emotion, relaxed state, we could use the alpha or theta frequency, alpha from the 8 until 12 hertz, theta from the 4 until 8 hertz. We can, so if a person has anxiety disorder or they are anxious about thesis but they need to calm down, they can listen to theta frequencies that are easily available on the internet platforms. Thank you, Mr.
Yeah, I think that's well answered. My second question builds on top of that. How do you ensure that the equipment that they are using, the sound devices, the speakers, and the phones or the earphones, can replicate that frequency to the highest extent?
Oh, that is a great question. Thank you, Mr. So as of right now, there has not been like a clear standardized tool to deliver the sound frequencies. But as we can take normal cautious measures by using refined speakers or headphones that are known for its quality instead of just opting for like a normal or like a cheaper option.
So it's not that accessible then?
It's not that accessible if we want to gain the maximum potential. However, even though we listen it to like a normal speaker, like the school speaker, we can still receive several therapeutic benefits.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so it's actually a matter of time. Yeah, maybe in the future we'll have a cheaper one for everyone. Yeah.
Right, Mr.
My next one goes with your entrainment. Yeah, you mentioned about how entrainment that the patient or the person will be kind of like following the vibration of the sound frequencies, right? So there's a baseline, there's an equilibrium that if anybody hears that, they will be, say, healed, yeah, one way or the other. Now, how do you ensure the fidelity of this? How can you ensure that it's going to be working as well as it should? I mean, the way I see it, when I hear your thesis and all that, it can be abused. Like, I can just make the frequency lacking. I can make the frequency in a way that's distorting to actually abuse my patients. Won't that be possible?
Oh, thank you, Mr. So to clarify, are you asking the malpractice or
Yes, the malpractice.
So how can sound therapy be
Yeah. How do I trust
abused?
the guys who can really heal me instead of giving me the placebo effect, like quack doctors? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. for the question. This will connect to my third proof. That's why I said it is regulating it would be a legislative and ethical necessity of the government. It is true that as of right now, there is no regulation that oversee the practitioners to if they are using some sort of dangerous frequency. That is why in my third proof, I said that socializing, promoting, and regulating it is an obligation for the government to do so because this actually stems from traditional complementary medicine, which has not been very exposed to the public. So like it's very prone if we go to a sound therapist that has no proper certification or good intentions toward us, there is the possibility that we are exposed to harmful frequencies. This is why I urge everyone to educate ourselves, initiate discussions, and also for the government to, as fast as possible, to regulate this alternative.
Okay. Thank you. Now, my last question, I think, before I go to Ms. Pipin. Now, you mentioned about the WHO, yeah, WHO, public healthcare, many other things. Yeah, but when I research more into it, it seems to be quite complicated. Funding issues, corruption issues, and many more foundational infrastructure problems. Most of the time it had nothing to do with the method of the medicine, but mostly logistic issue, infrastructure issue, and many other things. How is it that this sound treatment thing can help it? I would actually think it's actually adding more problem, muddy the water. Like imagine an area having less doctors, and then say, look, the WHO is giving this sound therapy. Let's add more speakers. That doesn't accept the problem, right? The city, the village has no doctor. So how do you address that?
Okay, thank you, Mr. for the question. So mainly from this WHO traditional medicine strategy, the main struggle is logistic and infrastructure, as you said. However, compared to other existing treatments, sound therapy offers the most minimal equipment needed to deliver the therapeutic benefits. It is true that we still need some speakers or like refined headphones, but compared to the beneficial effects the people in the remote rural areas can get, it is much more efficient and beneficial compared to like other treatments. For example, acupuncture, you still need the needles and the person to actually execute the program. But sound therapy, you can like establish a guideline of the sound healing frequencies that is good at managing stress, depression, insomnia, and the government can provide standardized refined speakers and headphones so the people in the village can experience the therapeutic benefits.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Ms.
Ms.
Pipin.
Pipin.
Yes. Okay. Okay. First off, thank you for the good delivery and also the thesis is very well written. That's good. So I think I want to ask about the. You said that it is like it is urgent for the government to make this a visible treatment, but how effective it is, and then can you give more science back evidence? For example, from the Oliver's case, maybe can you delve more into it?
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you for the question, Miss. So to address the first part of the question, how effective it is. So as I have mentioned before that several, okay, before I go further, there are two categories of sound therapy. The type of sound therapy that I use, that I have been talking about mostly is the traditional sound therapy that could be easily accessible and done by all of us. So it's like the chantings, it's like the hearing some sorts of sound frequencies. But there are the second type of sound frequency. It's the clinical sound therapies that are administered by medical professional and it is not much exposed to the public yet. So even for the traditional integrative sound therapy, it has proven actually scientifically since instruments like the Tibetan singing bowls or the gong bats, they produce high and low frequencies. And it has been researched that high frequencies actually increases beta waves linked to increase in alertness, better cognitive processing, and intense emotions, so you are more alert. While sound frequency actually increase alpha waves, which helps you to be more relaxed and to be more calm. If we shift to the clinical sound therapies, I mentioned briefly in the refutation that studies actually have documented the primary cilium. This primary cilium is actually antenna-like structures containing proteins on our cell membranes. To make it short, it's basically proteins, and they have discovered a way to actually alter the shape of this protein. So for background information, our cell structures are are kind of supported by protein structures. And defects in these proteins or primary cilia has been linked to several sickness like heart failure, polycystic kidney disease, and even cancer. So this is the key advantage because we found a way to actually change the fundamental living blocks of our body system. And last, to address your question of the Oliver case, So Oliver has prostate cancer. For background information, we all live in a sea of vibration. So every one of us is currently vibrating in a constant motion. Even this podium, who seems like it's a solid object, is actually vibrating in a constant rate, but it's just not seeable to us. So the treatment of Oliver, it utilizes the concept of resonance. So a system, a machine, will be projecting the same frequency as the natural frequency of the cancer cells. Then the resonance phenomenon will happen. The cancer cells will start to vibrate more vigorously to an extent they can't contain their own vibration. So their structure will be destabilized and the cancer cells will burst without ever harming the healthy cells surrounding the area.
Okay, thank you for the good explanation. That's a very thorough explanation. Continuing from that question, so you're saying that the vibration actually can alter the proteins. Now, what if this frequency is used, like Mrs. Zorin said, like in malpractice? So, like, if it can destroy the cancer cell, is it possible to also destroy the healthy cells?
It does not close the possibility to actually harm the healthy cells because it lies in the same principle of resonance. If you have discovered the natural frequency of any type of cells and you project a frequency, a vibration with the same frequency of that natural frequency, you can lead it to self-destructing itself. That's why we need to properly regulate and legalize this treatment.
I agree. Now, how about the sound that we heard every day? For example, like just now, there's like a high frequency thing going. Or for example, like if there is someone who lives in a nearby construction site or anything that has a lot of noise, or for example, like in the middle of on the side roads, how does this? Is there any any research or something else that can that agrees that these sounds frequencies can like disturb or it can benefit the body?
Okay, thank you for the question, Miss. So for in our daily activities, when we are exposed to like various kinds of sound, I haven't really done an extensive research, but I highly doubt that it will actually give any therapeutic, real therapeutic benefits compared to when we intentionally do sound therapy. However, if we compare like a person who works in a construction site and compare it to a person who joins choir or like doing harmonious chanting, research studies have shown that people who are actively engaged listening or producing harmonious sounds like in choir, their cortisol level or their stress levels is decreased, and instead their endorphins and oxytocins, which are the hormones for happiness and trust, are increased. So being exposed and listening or producing harmonious sound will actually help regulate our emotions better, promoting a better welfare. Additionally, singing in choir actually strengthens the respiratory muscles compared to people in constructive site who are exposed to like harsh sounds or like intensive sound booms.
Is there still time or no?
I need to ask a couple of questions. Do you have one
Okay.
more, maybe?
It's fine. One more? Okay, one more. Just for India. Is there any center for this sound therapy medicines, or maybe it has been done in Indonesia? That's the last.
I'm sorry, Miss. Can you repeat your question?
Sorry, is there any center that has been built for this, specifically for this sound therapy, anywhere in the world, or maybe it was already practiced in Indonesia? Is there any case?
Oh, so are you asking the places that has been?
Yeah, maybe in the hospital they have like this apa namanya, specialized word for the sound treatment.
Okay, thank you, Miss, for the question. I think I've put it in my paper that some major hospitals like the Henry Mayo Hospital and the Cleveland Clinic, they have this, if I'm not mistaken, resiliency rooms that are equipped with soundscapes to actually help the doctors or even patients to soothe and to calm themselves from the high pressure environmental outside. In Indonesia itself, I haven't done an extensive research of like public institutions incorporating sound therapy, but I think a close to life example is probably if you go to spa or like any recreational places, we can hear some soothing background music that can lead us to a calm state.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Audy, you're doing great. I have just a couple of quick questions, and then we'll be done. First of all, I know that you've been admitted to a pretty prestigious medical school. Is that right?
Right, mister.
Yeah, so I'm curious, what about your medical school you're going to? Do they recognize sound therapy as a treatment? Do they have a program for it, or are they still not recognizing medical sound therapy yet as something that you could do as a doctor?
All right. Thank you, Mister, for the question. I think I'll be asking the university once I got accepted, once I actually got enrolled. But personally, I think they don't have this kind of, they don't really recognize sound therapy yet, since it falls to the traditional, complementary, and integrative medicine. Like, let's see from a more well-known example, the acupuncture. There has not been much exposure of acupuncture even in my university, let alone sound therapy.
Yeah, okay, good answer. So also, there's at least one student who's saying, what about these YouTube videos that use sound to help you lose weight? Is that possible, do you think? I'm asking for myself also.
Well, okay, thank you for the question. So for YouTube audios that claim to be able to lose weight, so that could be more of a placebo effect. So as we all know, it all stems again for our own perception and will. So I guess to an extent, if you believe that sound frequency can help you lose some mass, that could actually happen, probably.
All right, I may try it today. Okay, thank you so much, Audy.
Thank you,
time is
Mister.
up.
Thank you. Very well done.
Yeah, Audy did a great job. Okay, so here's what we'll do. We'll meet up here with friends and family and panelists and advisor for photos. And then we want to start in only 5 minutes. We're sort of on a tight schedule from here on out. We'll start in 5 minutes.